Are you a linear thinker or an iterative thinker? Here's a quick test to find out if you had a solution, but it didn't work as expected. What would you do? A, you say, well, the solution is not working, so let me look for the right one. B, well, the solution is not working, so let me figure out what is not working. This is a pretty subtle difference, but the second order consequence takes you down two complete paths. A teaches you to think as if you're guessing the combination to a lock. You try all the numbers until it opens. You're likely overwhelmed by all this information that exists out there because, well, it's difficult to find the perfect solution to a problem. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. That's why a lot of us go through, 3x speed on Audible books, 2x speed on YouTube videos so that we can process more information. But the problem is humans are not designed to win at this game of processing a lot of information in a short period of time. Machines are. So we're playing a game that we will naturally lose, and the problem is we get frustrated because we are working hard. We are putting it in the work, but the results are less reliable. Now, if you think like B, that means thinking more about how does the lock mechanism work so that you can open any lock. If you're B, then when you have new information come up, you're curious. You don't care if it's the perfect solution to your problem. What you do is you take it and you tinker with it. You see, hey, does it fit my problem? How is the solution even constructed? You want to understand the underlying logic behind the solution so that even if it doesn't solve your problem, you gain a better understanding of how something works. Let me give you an example on a computer. When I first got into productivity, trying to finish all of the things I'm doing, but for some reason I couldn't, I met the Eisenhower matrix. And if you've ever seen it, it looks something like this. You have urgent on one side, not urgent on the other. You have important at one end and not important at the other. So the idea is if something is important and urgent, you do it. If something is not urgent but is important, then you schedule it. If it is urgent but not important, you delegate it. And if it's not important and not urgent, just delete it. So at the beginning, I thought, wow, this is great. I kept on using it until I realized this made me prioritize other people's demands. People were always pinging me, emailing me, hey, Vicky, help me with this, help me with that. And towards the end of the day, I didn't work on anything I was supposed to do. I was just putting out fires for other people. So if it was the linear me, I would have said, hey, Eisenhower matrix, this thing doesn't work. And I would have said, there must be a better solution out there. So let me go find out. Let me go watch more YouTube videos, read more articles, and try to figure out what is it that will actually help me. But if this were the iterative me, I would have said, okay, let's look at this. The problem I have with this matrix is not this important matrix axis, is more about this urgent one. I don't think I want to think about what's urgent or not urgent because that's helped me prioritize other people's things. So instead, maybe I'll create a new one where I still keep important and not important. But this time, maybe it's priority for me versus priority for others. If this was the case, then I know if it's important and a priority for me, I must make time to do it. If it's a priority for the others, well, let's give it 2 ticks, and it's important, then I will also do it. But if it's a priority for me, but not that important, do I really need to do it? And if it's a priority for others and not important, I'll delegate it. Okay, so I've gotten rid of these things and I've put at least this back onto my calendar. But, as I continue to use this, I figured out what are things that are important to me. But the problem is I realized I kept on prioritizing things that had short-term impact because I'm not a great judge of if something is going to be important long-term. For example, my YouTube channel, when I started it, I couldn't figure out if I should continue because I wasn't gaining subscribers. I wasn't sure if what I was saying was resonating with people. But innately, I felt like it was something I needed to keep going with. But on this matrix, it would land here, which is not a great place to be. And also I realized I kept on working on my stuff, late in the evening where I didn't have that much energy. So I thought, okay, this is actually not the right matrix. So why do I change it completely? I need to figure out one, energy. Do I have high energy or low energy? Okay, that's number one. And for this, does it take a short time or a long time? So I reorganized my matrix again. And here I realized if it's high energy in the short time, I should do it in the morning when I have high energy. When it's low energy in a short time, I'll do this in between meetings. I'll do this with time I have left here and there. I'm not going to plan them into my calendar. And then if it's high energy and it takes a long time, I'm going to create focus time just for this, a block of time for this. And if it takes a long time and it's pretty low energy, I put it into my evenings where I know I can save some time and just chug along, but I'm not at my peak performance. And notice how it took me 3 iterations to really figure out what I want to do. But the structure is all the same. It started the same with the Eisenhower matrix. So the difference really is with a linear way of thinking, what happens is try something, it doesn't work. Okay, so you try another thing, doesn't work. Try another thing, doesn't work. Maybe try another thing, it works for a little bit, but then in the end it doesn't work. And so you just spend time trying new things. If you're iterative, what happens is you try one thing, you work on it, you spiral upwards, right? And you're building on what you already know. For this, it's unclear what you're building towards, right? This to me really is the sandcastle. It washes everything away. You're not getting anywhere. You just have to wait for luck. Like if I can finally be lucky and find the perfect solution to my problem. Whereas as this, what you're trying to do as you go through this is you figure out what is the problem and what is the solution. And you go deeper with each. Because as I was going through this, what I realized was Eisenhower matrix, this matrix is to help you measure trade-off. Because with every comparison between tasks, you can come up with 1,000 different ways to do your pro and con list, right? But what the Eisenhower matrix did was just pick 2 most important variables and look at that. Right? It helps you simplify and make those decisions. And I realized, okay, urgency and importance were not the most important variable for me, but I can change them, right? And this makes the framework come alive. The power of frameworks is not in the exact framework, but in the logic of it. So that's why I could go deeper and I could see here, I thought my problem was just prioritization. Okay. If I had this, I could prioritize. But then I realized actually the problem is not prioritization, it's prioritizing for me. I needed to build something for myself. Okay. So I did this. And then we went one step deeper and I realized, okay, prioritization actually needs to be distinguished further. There's an energy component and a time component. I can't just think about this moment in time. I have to think about it in relation to my energy and to how long it will take. So it's really refining what is the actual problem and what is the solution. So what you'll really see is in the linear situation, right? This is similar to addressing a symptom. Like let's put a Band-Aid. Oh my gosh, this is a terrible drawing, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Put a Band-Aid on it. Okay, and in the iterative process, this is more about the cause, right? And so we are zooming into what is actually causing this. What is the real problem here? What is the real solution we need to be using? And so if you find yourself thinking linearly, as I did before, you'll see that you're putting in so much hard work and it's not leading anywhere. So instead, don't worry about finding a new thing. There are timeless principles that have always worked. Take one and make it your own, right? Keep on coming back to it. If it's not working, what is it that makes it not work, right? Maybe, and you'll realize, some components are great. You just have to tweak others. If you want to think more iteratively with frameworks, join me down below in the description. And here's the next video on how to think in frameworks from books. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.